Hello everyone, today I wanted to present my overall impressions and review of Lost Ark. I've currently spent over 200 hours playing the game, understanding and getting frustrated with the mechanics, and I wanted to share with you my honest opinion and experience of the game so far. Game story, although might seem cliche, is nicely done, quests are fairly decent voice acted, and it's nicely presented. Few MMOs have this kind of well thought structure in the sense that it can be funny, sad, and a bit stupid and cringe at times. Think about it as an anime story with the side quests feel like fillers or non-canon episodes, and at the same time the key events from the story feel really epic and are visually amazing. Great music and overall livelihood of the game, cities feel alive, beautiful scenery all over, and the continents have different themes, which does not make the scenery feel repetitive, and that goes for the islands as well. Graphic-wise, the game looks beautiful, character design and customizations is fairly decent, but I feel like armor variety and skins are lacking for the time being. Perhaps this will be changed in the future patches and updates. I would say it seems original, but the more I played it, the more it seems to me that Lost Ark is a combination of many more other games I've played, which isn't a bad thing, as it feels to me that the good parts outweigh the bad ones, and the scales are pretty balanced. There was a bit of a rough launch with the huge queues when trying to get into the game the first month and some other issues, but this has been since fixed, be it by the devs or just by the population going down to half to what it was initially. But in all fairness, still having around 500 to 600k concurrent players is still a massive population that will allow you to do group content with ease. The combat is my favorite part of the game. You make your way through by stomping on dozens of enemies with flashy powerful skills, and it just feels and looks great. You have a big variety of classes and playstyles, and for each around 10 spells you can customize on your hotbar, but it does not stop there. Every particular spell can be leveled up, and upon leveling that spell up, you can upgrade it with 1 out of 3 tripods, up to 3 times. Tripods are added effects that will provide either more damage, increase your AoE, buffs, or change the elemental property of your skill. You can add runes with different special effects directly to your skill, which will further upgrade them. In addition to that, you can also add gems to your build. Gems are obtained later in the game, which upgrade your spells even further, granting extra damage or cooldowns. That's it for the active skills. For the passive ones, we have 2 more systems consisting of engravings and card collections. Engravings are special effects that can be found on accessories, ability stones, and in book format, which let you learn them. There are normal engravings and negative engravings. These effects modify certain abilities or characteristics of a character, such as improving damage, max MP, or in the case of negative engravings, reducing your attack and movement speed. There are also class engravings which modify class-specific abilities and traits, and in some cases these might drastically change the way a class plays. As for the card system, each card represents either a character or an artifact from the game. Also, each card comes from a set of cards. Combining 2 or more cards from the same set in your deck will unlock bonuses based on the number of combinations that you have in your deck, and by just completing a set, this will also provide some small passives. The effects differ from card to card and from set to set, with the most powerful cards being legendary, and the effects generally consist of improving defenses, elementals, and while leveling them up you can also get offensive bonuses. The leveling up part is straightforward and pretty basic. From 1 to 50 you'll have a lot of walking around, killing a bunch of enemies and talking to a lot of NPCs. The story is structured in chapters, and for each chapter you have a different continent with a different theme. It takes up to 20 hours of gameplay to reach level 50, depending on your playstyle and how much you will deviate on secondary quests and missions. Through every continent you will find a story dungeon, and some of them are just superb. Overall, the leveling up was pretty fun, and I've enjoyed it more than I've expected. Another good thing is that once you've leveled up one of your characters to 50, you get 2 power boosts, which will allow you to instantly boost 2 characters to level 50, in case you want to try their classes. And besides that, there is another functionality at the Stronghold, which is called Knowledge Transfer, which will allow you to boost other characters up to a point, but will cost you gold, which is an in-game currency. Okay, let's talk about the game systems, because there are a few. The most important one will be the honing system, which is basically upgrading your gear. Once you get to endgame, honing will be your main goal, and to reach endgame, which is around item level 1385. The game has a gear score structure, endgame being split into 3 tiers. Tier 1 starts after you hit level 50 at around item level 250. Tier 2 is at 600 and Tier 3 starts at 1100. You will need to hit these soft caps in order to access different areas and to continue with the main story. Yes, it goes on after level 50, and this will further unlock more endgame content. Upgrading or transferring gear in Lost Ark cannot result in the item breaking or downgrading, which in my opinion from playing other MMOs is great, but it is however the only way to progress your character to higher endgame content in Lost Ark, and the chances get slimmer every time and the material cost gets higher as well. This is where the real grind starts. When upgrading, every attempt costs you a set amount of materials and gold. This cost depends on the level of your item and doesn't change until you successfully upgrade it. As the chances can go lower than 30% while upgrading, you can use different materials to increase those chances. If you fail, you are given a higher success rate for all subsequent upgrade attempts up to a maximum limit. Think of this as a pity system. Each failed upgrade attempt grants you a percentage of artisan's energy, which will increase your chances of upgrading, but yet again your gear will not be destroyed, so eventually you will get there with enough materials. A stronghold is your own customizable private island instance that serves many useful functions for the growth of your account. Rewards from the stronghold can range from crafting powerful battle items to boosting additional characters through the story. Over time you can craft different items, upgrading certain areas of the game that will reduce the upgrade costs for your alts, craft potions, and send your stronghold crews on expeditions to gather treasures, currencies, and other rewards. You can customize your stronghold and personalize it. You will need to gather crew members to operate the certain parts of it, and you will need gathering materials for upgrades. This is where the gathering comes into play. Throughout the world you can collect iron ore, wood, plants, and fish. Pretty straightforward. There is not a huge variation of materials, and you use these for different crafting recipes at the stronghold. You have an energy limit for the stronghold that limits your daily actions there, and you also have a life energy limit for gathering that also limits the amount of gatherables you can get. In a way it's good that this keeps the economy quite steady, as there's a limited amount of materials, but you can replenish your energy with some items from the cash shop. There are a lot of collectibles in the game, and when I say a lot, I mean there's thousands of collectible items. Some are pretty easy to get, but they get more tricky to get later on, be it that these are hidden behind some triggers, or time-gated actions, or behind some more difficult quests. The good part is that the game rewards you for finding these collectibles, each type of collectible granting you different type of rewards, from special mounts, skill points, crew members, and other rare rewards or materials. The report part of Lost Ark is like a dating minigame where you befriend a certain NPC, do some tasks for them, quests, sing or dance, give them gifts, and they end up giving you rewards for unlocking different report levels. This is a small nice thing you can do to show your appreciation to certain NPCs, and it has a daily cap of 10 actions, so choose your rewards carefully. Rewards differ from one NPC to another and can vary from silver up to gold, rare engravings, rare cards, or other collectibles. The BIFROST system is a quick travel system that allows you to save certain positions in the world where you can return to instantly, but it has a lengthy cooldown. This helps at time-gated events when they happen across the world, and the music system is at the same time a traveling system that allows you to teleport to different continents, teleport back to the stronghold, or exit certain areas. But it's also a system that will also allow you to access different parts of the world, island events, or just are a requirement into other quests. It's a good thing to collect them all. The adventure tome is more of a completionist thing that consists of more rewards locked behind other activities. Basically, there is an adventure tome for every continent, and once you've completed 100% of that continent, you will unlock all the rewards. Rewards are granted in 10 steps at every 10% completion of the continent. There are a lot of currencies in the game, and again, I mean a lot. You can access them from the small yellow chest from the top of the screen, and you gather them from different activities, quests, events, areas, and so on. It's good to have these in a way as it diversifies the content you do, but yet again, it's a grind if you aim to get them all yourself. The Codex is a very useful and great thing to have. It's basically a wiki inside the game. Many players do not know about this, but it's very useful, and I wish more games did something similar to this. Lost Ark is a totally free-to-play game with no restrictions hidden behind a paywall. Personally, and this is my own opinion, I think that this is not a pay-to-win game, as almost every item from the cash shop can be obtained by just playing the game. You can exchange gold you obtain by playing to get blue crystals, which can be further used to buy your crystalline aura, which is basically the premium monthly subscription, which brings some advantages such as free teleporting, reduced times in the strongholds for crafting, and so on. Admittedly, you can also change real-life money into royal crystals, which can be further changed to blue crystals or directly into in-game gold. So if you do not have that much time on your hands, you can speed up your progression with some cash. What I mean by this is that you have a daily or weekly limited amount of honing materials that are used to upgrade your gear, and what people can do is exchange real-life money for in-game gold to buy those materials and speed up the item level progression. While this gives you an advantage, it does not guarantee your success rate when upgrading the gear. It just gives you more chances based on how much money you want to spend. So in this sense, it's more of a pay-to-progress scenario. The reason again why I personally don't consider Lost Ark a pay-to-win game is that you cannot buy yourself gear or the best items in the game with real-life money. You do not get the max item level and endgame without the RNG or part of the grinding. And of course, money will not buy you the skill that is required to do the endgame dungeons and clear the full party wipe mechanics. There is also a fee-on system in place for the auction house, which is meant to tone down the number of people who are trying to buy their way to the top with gold, meaning that at every purchase of armor, accessories or ability stones, besides the gold, you will have to spend a specific number of fions as well. Fions currently are limited and you can get them occasionally from the cash shop or from occasional events or rewards. This is a good system in place that can also help the game economy and preventing people to buying everything. Just to give you an example of this, I started with around 100 fions, and while buying some accessories that I will change in time, I've almost spent my whole fions. Endgame will consist of everything you do after you reach level 50, and honestly this is basically where the game really begins. It's a very grindy road to the soft cap of 1370 to 1385 item level, while I've seen a handful of people who managed to get to almost 1500. Honestly, I do not know how they managed that, but it's possible. As mentioned, you are limited in the resources you can gather daily, so the real grind begins right now. The good part is that you can start and play alts to taxi the resources from one another to help upgrade your gear. You can try different classes, and this is a way that it won't be that repetitive. Unfortunately, there is a big variety of content you can do as well. The scale of the world is just enormous, and between the continents where you do your main story quest, you also have islands with different thematics and different types of quests on these islands as well, and they do provide a lots of rewards. At endgame, you will do your usual daily chaos dungeons, your guardian raids and abyssal dungeons. If you don't feel like doing dungeons, you have a variety of events through the event calendar and you can choose which to attend. You have sailing events where you take your ship to the open sea, where you're required to taxi people across islands, gather treasures from the sea, kill jellyfish or other sea monsters, and boat races. There is a ghost ship, which is basically another dungeon-like event, where you board a ghost ship and need to kill all the enemies and boss. There are time-gated events which pop up different islands on the world map, islands which are only available for a certain amount of time, and once the event is over, they will disappear. Events can vary from different activities, weird activities, PvP, and just random stuff. For example, there's one island where the events let you turn into a panda and you need to eat, sleep, and roll around as a panda. You'll just have to check them out yourselves. Other events from the calendar can include world bosses where you can see the exact time and spawn location, and chaos gates, which are 30 people dungeons where you kill everything and get more loot and gold. As mentioned, there is a huge variety of endgame content, and trust me, you won't have time to do it all. So it's a good thing that you can switch things up, do more diverse content, and play the game the most fun way fitted for you. In conclusion, in all honesty, it's been a long time since I've had so much fun with an MMO, spending over 200 hours, and will easily play this regularly the following months, as it's actually a fun game with a huge variety of content and lots of stuff to do. This is definitely a must try that will guarantee some fun times, and also it's a free to play game. Being able to purchase almost everything from the cash shop through in-game currencies with no real money invested, that's if you are willing to punch in the time. It will get grindy in the end, but let's not forget it's a Korean style MMORPG, but yet again, the diversity of the content will make it easier to deal with it. Let's not forget that this is an MMO, and generally speaking, reaching true endgame in any decent MMO takes a couple of months. As mentioned, there is a huge variety of endgame content, and trust me, you won't have time to do it all. So it's a good thing that you can switch things up, do more diverse content, and play the game the most fun way fitted for you. All in all, I think it's a really good game, definitely worth giving it a shot, as the good parts outweigh the bad parts. If you're interested, try it out yourself, it's free and it's actually fun. Hope this helped you get a better understanding of the game, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like or subscribe, as it will help me and definitely will help the video get out to more curious or undecided players. Thank you and goodbye.